There's something that I got to take about 10 minutes to do that God has given me, and He's been working on me the week to deal with it. The title of it is God's Will, God's Way.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting the path, not just the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stuck on that many by different things because I keep saying I want to do God's will. Most people say I want to do God's will. I've
Mm-hmm.
listened to so many people who say that. I question whether or not they know what they're asking because a lot of times they have the desire to do God's will, but they're not willing to do it God's way. And I asked the Lord to give me something here to help with this. We often ask God, what is your will for my life? But an equally important question is, am I willing to follow your way to fulfill that will? Knowing God's will isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about trusting His process, His timings, and His methods. And I don't know about you. I believe sometimes I'm not on course because I get in the way too much. What I want to do, or maybe what somebody else wants to do. It's very important to understand his process, His timing, His methods. Even His timings, I find that I am impatient sometimes. And God does not move on my time. And I'm praying and asking the Lord to make me 100% usable according to His way. And Isaiah 55, verse 8 and 9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord." Sometimes that could be very disheartening because we think we need everything now. And to realize that God is the one that has control, we need to trust Him. Let's look at this. God's will is perfect, but is revealed in portions. You hear what I'm saying? He don't just throw everything out at you all at once. It comes in a plan. Pastor McConaughey said he has a thought, a desire to do the Lord has given him. Now, the Lord will give it to him in portions. He's given it to me in portions. He's given it to you in portions. And you cannot be impatient. You got to wait on the Lord. If we look at this, we got to look at the whole picture of it. God gives us the steps. Abraham was told to go, but not shown where at first. We got to remember that. Trust means walking even when the details are sketchy or scarce. You got to walk it. If God said go, you got to go. If He said go west, go west. Don't start going north, south, east, or west. That's what happened to the children of Israel when they got delivered out of Egypt. They kept complaining and not wanting to do things God's way. So a very short trip ended up being 40 years. And because they refused to listen to God, God allowed them to die out. Those people that were delivered, and their kids are the ones who made it to the promised land. We got to remember, God knows what He is doing. When we demand full control, we're not following, we're negotiating. And how many of us are trying to negotiate with God about what we think we ought to be doing? You're going to negotiate with God. Okay. We'll find out that that doesn't work very well. Everybody in the Bible would explain to you that that doesn't work. David was anointed king as a teen, but it was years before he received a crown. There's refinement in the way. While God is working us to the destination He wants us to go through or to work out His will in your life, He will allow things that's going to cause you to break down in humility. He will give you perseverance. And sometimes, if not all the time, we have to be transformed because we cannot do the thing God asks us to do based upon how we want to do it. We got to look at Moses. Moses knew it was God's will to deliver Israel, but in that process, when God was working with him from the time he was born, you know the story, he ended up killing a man. That wasn't God's will. That was Moses' will. And because of that, that could have been the other additional 40 years while he's out there being reprocessed, being transformed, being taught perseverance. We must beware of taking shortcuts that dishonor God's holiness or ignore his timing. Are we guilty of any of that? Christ, as the ultimate example of God's will and way in Gethsemane, Christ was the example. But Christ himself said in Luke 22:42, not my will, but thine be done. Now, that's Jesus said it. What more do you think that we ought to be willing to say that to the Lord? Jesus fulfilled the Father's will by surrendering completely to the Father's way, even when it meant suffering. God's will without God's way doesn't bear God's fruit. So I'm going to finish this up quickly as we're going to continue on. We know that the calling on our life, the promise over our future, the dream of our heart, but we have to do it God's way. Don't rush the process. Don't hijack the plan. Now, you hear my voice. I told you I've been dealing with this all week. This is actually me talking to me, but I know if it's to me, it could be to you. We must make sure that we stay the course according to God's way of getting it done, not yours. We're not negotiating with God. God is not a negotiator. He already knows what he wants you to do. The question is, how long will it take? Because you are the one who causes the extended time of accomplishment, because you keep on to do it your way, and God's going to wait till you get through, and he's going to still get his way, bring you back. Instead of it being 15 days to get there, it might take 40 years. Question is, are you willing to do it his way? If you are, give up your way. Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6 says, as I conclude, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and he shall direct thy path. Look, that's more to that verse. I gave it a shortcut. So what are you willing to do? I've heard it this day in prayer. Your will, Lord, your way. Okay, those who have testified. All right, you know what to do. If it's God's will for your life, do it God's way, and you will meet the successful end and a timely end according to his will. Don't give up, just give in.